I love this book. I love everything about this book. That feels fantastic to me. They're fun to read, they are. It gave me that feeling. I have 3 pillows stacked. This is so comfortable. What does this mean? I know I'm gonna have my feelings hurt. Hello everyone and welcome back to another reading vlog. Today we are obviously doing another 24-hour readathon. I do these once a month, every month on my channel. If you have been subscribed for a while, you probably already know this. If you are new here, subscribe if you like reading challenges and reading vlogs because we do them a lot. I'm obviously wearing my 24-hour readathon sweatshirt at the moment. This is from my merch collection with N embroideries for autumn and winter. It's only around for a limited time and I obviously had to wear it when I'm doing my 24-hour readathon. So we're all set up and ready to do this readathon. I did actually finish a book earlier this morning and was finishing up some other stuff, so we're starting this readathon a little bit later in the day than we usually do, so I don't know if we'll get 12 hours of reading done today. It might be a shorter one today and a longer one tomorrow. I think that's gonna be the reality of it. But anyways, like always, I split these readathons across 2 days, so we'll read, or at least aim to read, 12 hours on one day and 12 hours on the next, back to back, because my sleep is too important. I need my sleep. I can't read books. I won't take anything in if I'm like tired and trying to force myself to stay up. It's not enjoyable. The purpose of these are to read as much of my physical TBR as I possibly can, uninterrupted. Binging my books is my favorite way to read and consume my books. So that's what we're doing today. Now the TBR of what we will be reading, I do have my TBR for the month here. If you haven't seen my TBR jar video, then you might not know what some of these books are. I'll run you through them. We've got Collide here, a sports hockey college romance, I think. Morningstar, the 3rd book in the original Red Rising trilogy. I feel like I'm not emotionally ready to read that one in this readathon. Hollow by the Twister Sisters. I do have an ARC copy of this, and I really do want to read this, but that might be a book for tomorrow. I need to start off with shorter books and work my way up to the longer one. That seems to be like the key when it comes to locking in with these readathons. Unearthly by Cynthia Hand, a YA fantasy trilogy, older trilogy that I've never read before, but I want to get around to reading. And The Ever King by LJ Andrews. I had another book that was on my physical TBR, but it's not arrived yet, so we're not including that one. But I definitely think I need to start off with a sports romance, something lighter, a little bit fluffier, lower commitment, interconnected standalone. I've already read book 2 in this series and I did enjoy that, so we're going back and reading book 1. I also have book 3, so we're gonna read this because mentally, physically, emotionally, this is what I need right now. I need something light and fluffy and distracting from the really big fantasy book I just read before starting this video. So we're gonna kick off the readathon with Collide. I also think today there's 2 books on my physical TBR here that I'm intrigued about picking up because they are shorter. So I have Frost by C.N. Crawford, which blurb of it basically says it's like The Bachelor with Fae and trials. I've heard of this concept with books like Trial of the Sun Queen and The Selection. I've not read The Selection, I have read Trial of the Sun Queen, but I'm very intrigued about that. So we've got that one. And then also Son of the Morning is a new book that's coming out in November, and I have an art copy for it, but it's quite short. I was told it's dark, romantic vibes. So we might also attempt to read these 2. I'll pop them on top of my TBR book stack, which is very filled right now, but I think I'm in the mood to maybe read these 2 as well today. So I'll pull them out, so we'll reevaluate once I read the first book. So I'm just over halfway through the book and I haven't updated you on anything so far because I wanted to read a little bit more to get my thoughts, and I think I definitely prefer book 2 to book 1. I'm just not connecting with these characters. I'm not sure. There's something about the way that it's written where each chapter is just like a scene jump. Like we're in one scene, then the next chapter, a different scene. I feel like there's not a consistent flow that's developing the story. It's like, this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening. And it's creating, for me personally, just like this disconnect with the story. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like the actions and their intentions and their thoughts aren't completely lining up. And I don't know, because I'm like 50 pages in and they were already having certain feelings about each other, where I was like, oh, and I don't mind like a friends with benefit or a, you know, a situation where a character doesn't want to deal with feelings. But I think the blurb of this book and the way that it initially set up just didn't work for me with these specific characters and this dynamic. I think, I don't know, just the pace that it's moving at is confusing me a little bit, but I like our characters together. So I'm gonna keep reading. I think it's doing what I wanted it to do. It's not my favorite hockey romance book, but it's definitely not the worst hockey romance book that I've read. So I'm gonna continue reading it, but I definitely prefer book 2 over book 1, and I do have book 3 on my shelf. So depending on how it ends, I might pick up book 3, or I might read a book, a fantasy book, and then pick up book 3 later. I can pick up book 3 in this 24-hour readathon. So yeah, it's fun being back in this world with these characters and seeing like the glimpse of the characters that book 2 was focusing on. I'm assuming there's going to be a book for each of the roommates in this series, like the hockey players, because based on book 2 and who book 3 is, I will be very excited for what I assume is going to be book 4. But again, kind of just flying through it, so we're gonna just continue reading the second half of the book and finish it, and then I'll catch up with you guys and my overall thoughts. You know, it's the end of the year when it's not even 4 p.m. yet, and the sun is already starting to disappear and set. I have my afternoon coffee though to finish this. We're making our way through it, but I'm gonna have to turn on like lamps in the house now. Where has the time gone this year? It's flown by. Another thing with this book is I also just don't really think the conflict in this is that big of an issue, and like what our main character's grudge is with hockey players. I just don't think it's that deep. I don't know. Finished the first book. It did exactly what it needed to do for a sports college hockey romance. It hit the spot. It's not my favorite in the series, so I think that the books in the series will probably get better as they go on, because I think I preferred book 2 to book 1. But they're fun to read. They're fun to read, they are. If you like a college sports romance, I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy this. It is very typical sports college romance. So it was exactly what I was craving and in the mood for, and I'm very excited to pick up book 3 and see if I prefer book 3 to book 2 and how that goes. But I'm very excited for book 4. So I'm giving it a 3-star read, and I don't know what I'm gonna go pick up next. So I might get into some pajamas, get comfy, and then we'll start book number 2. I'm making myself a pizza, and while I do that, I found this graphic audio version of Frost, if you didn't know, and it's available on Spotify. Should be available on Audible too. So I'm listening to the first couple chapters, and I have to say there's one thing about C. N. Crawford, because C. N. Crawford, if you didn't know, is a husband and wife. They're two people writing a book, C and N. Crawford, and she is just one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram, because she's just so naturally funny. I don't know what it is, but like her sense of humor is literally me and my sense of humor. Oh, I'm also wearing Christmas pajamas because it's November. But oh, there's just something about this book. I don't know how to explain the sense of humor, but it's not like super serious. If you're going into this book expecting like high stakes, epic, high fantasy vibes, that's not what you're gonna get. Her stories to me are almost, I read it's like Fae Academy for Spies or something like that, and Avalon Tower's the first book. And they're set in modern day in our world, but there's Fae in it as well as half Fae and humans, but it just doesn't read like an urban fantasy, if you know what I mean. But it's like real world, but with Fae. So there is technology and some modern day references and language, and like this book blurb is basically the Fae king is looking for a new wife, and there's a bachelor type of thing with trials. And the way when you read the book, like I mentioned, I've not read The Selection, and I've read The Trial of the Sun Queen. It does not read like that at all, you know. It's just like the concept of there being this bachelor reality almost type of games in this real world where mortals exist and live, but there are also Fae and Fae beings in it. But in the first chapter, I could not stop laughing straight away, because it's your birthday and you're getting a curry. You're picking up an Indian curry from the takeaway, and she's Fae. But what she does with it, so funny. Genuinely, I was like, oh yeah. The only way I can kind of describe her books is the comedy in it is almost like a parody of a romantasy. That's almost like the sense of humor in this, but it's not taking the piss of the story, if that makes sense. This is a terrible way of me describing it, but the sense of humor is almost like quite satirical. It's very, very comedic. I find it funny. I think they're really fun to read because there are no other books like them. And I've read nothing else like this and the sense of humor. I think if you're in a reading slump, or you read a lot of romance, like comedies, like rom-coms, and you want a fantasy twist on it, that's probably how I would categorize this. Like it's funny, it's so funny. It's comedic, it's light-hearted, it's not supposed to be, like there's high stakes in it with trials and life and death, but it's not like, oh, this is really life or death. It's, I guess there's a similar sense of humor in Blood of Hercules, and also Apprentice to the Villain, Assistant to the Villain. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm doing a terrible job at describing it, but it's funny. And if you want something fast-paced, maybe you're just struggling with a reading slump. Well, this is basically just a long-winded way of me saying that this book is fun. I'm having fun with it. I love fae stories. I love fae books set in fairy. I love just like the traditional fairy folklore type of fae in books. And I love that we have it in here, which is crazy, the fact that I don't like the Cruel Prince trilogy, because that is one of the most famous fairy books. But I love it in The Rose Bargain, and some parts of this book are giving me those same vibes. Though this is definitely, it's like adult CW older sister, you know? Like more modern and, ooh, dramatic, entertaining. It's giving modern day entertainment, but in a fairy way. I like it. I'm having fun. I am honestly having fun. I'm definitely gonna read book 2 straight after this. And I have 100 pages to go. So we're just gonna smash through that now. Finished Frost. I actually really enjoyed this. I had such a good time. Flew through it in no time. If you're looking for like a short, low commitment, fast-paced book to read, if you're looking for entertainment, this is fun. I'm gonna jump straight into book 2, which I think is called Nectar. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm just gonna download it and read it because we did have an ending. I could predict what was happening. I've read enough fairy books to know exactly where this was going, but it was still fun, you know? And I don't think any other book could pull off having a story like this set in the modern world with a mortal world and a human and a fae that lives in the mortal world. But then we have the fairyland with more traditional folklore and mythology and this fairy history, and they're at balls and there's trials and there's like fencing competitions and duels, and then the next sentence they're talking about the Daily Mail and pop culture and mobile phones. Like, it doesn't ever work in any other book that I read it in, or when anyone uses any modern day language or references in like a high fantasy type of story. But because of like the setting up of this and the way that the story has been told and the plot of it, it does work. So it just makes a very entertaining, fast-paced fantasy romancy read. And it's not God tier, I'm not gonna be thinking about it all the time, but is it a fun book that I will recommend if you are looking for just pure entertainment in terms of romancy and you want something to get you out of a slump, or just something that's very fast and easy to read? Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. So I think 3 stars for this. That was fun. And I'm gonna download book 2 on Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited and read that, but I'm gonna hop into bed and read that. So we'll see how that goes. So I've just downloaded book 2, and at the start of it on Kindle, it has a summary of book 1. I love when authors do this. So if you didn't, like me, just read the 2 books back to back, there's like a 2-page recap. That's cool. I also don't think I mentioned, but book 1 follows our main female character, but a couple chapters were in the main male character's point of view. So some was a dual point of view, but it wasn't like evenly split. But the names are at the top again, so I wonder if we'll have more dual point of view. And I can't wait to see how this sums up. I haven't read my Kindle in so long. Like, I think in 2 weeks? It's been a while. I've been prioritizing my physical TBR. I have 3 pillows stacked. This is so comfortable. Cooper is on my lap. This book 2 is definitely more dual point of view compared to book 1, so that's really fun. And also, the twist it's taken, we've gone even more fairy, less modern day in this book. I'm interested to see if it continues to read like this, but I honestly think it's been a really fun little duology. if you don't want like a huge series to commit to and you want just a typical good romancy vibe. It's quite fun. So it is the next morning. We have like 15 hours of reading to do today. We did finish book 2 in the Frost and Nectar series by C.N. Crawford last night. I read the entire thing before I decided to go to sleep. So book 2, Ambrosia, was read. We finished that. Okay. Good girl. This book, I feel like read way more typical high fantasy fairy fae compared to book 1, which was Frost, which was definitely more of the mix of the modern day setting, but the fae world exists and there's modern references and the Bachelor style games. More of a new setting based off how this ended, and we're kind of following less characters in this one. And I kind of did miss the characters and the Bachelor trials element from this in this. Like, I definitely think I preferred book 1 to book 2, but I think the two of them together are like a 3-star duology for me. I think they were very, very easy to read. I think the Kindle versions are formatted differently to the paperback, because the paperback for this is like 290 pages, but it says on Kindle it's like 300 and something. And I read this one and it said it was 325 pages, and I read this one faster than this. This felt like there was way less content happening than this. So I think these books are even shorter than you expect if you're downloading them on Kindle. So if you're very much looking for a fast-paced, quick duology, something easy to read, something to read in between series, or you're just in the mood for like a really low maintenance fantasy series that you don't need to commit to, you just want something that's going to make you giggle, rom-com vibes, you know, that sense of humor I was talking about earlier, then I definitely think that these are fun to pick up and read. We always ask for shorter romancy books or shorter reads, but then we don't connect with them as much because there's not as much content for us to get invested in, or like character growth or development through only 200-300 pages, you know? But I like reading these type of books because they're just fun, they're fast-paced. When I feel like I could be reaching a reading slump, or I just want to, you know, flip the script, read something a little bit different, kind of just want some entertainment, these are the kind of books that I look for and gravitate towards. So I'm really glad I read them. They were really fun, especially in a reading challenge like this. Reading this before bed as well was so good. I don't think my brain could have handled anything more high stakes or, you know, anything quite dense. So I don't think you would read these books and be like, this is god tier 6 stars, my new favorite characters ever out of any book I've ever read. But I think you'll read these and have a fun time. Does that make sense? So I would recommend them. They're on Kindle Unlimited. I love C.N. Crawford. I want to read more C.N. Crawford books, but yeah, that was really exciting. I definitely want to get a physical copy of book 2 to put on my shelf with my other C.N. Crawford books, because I think they would be fun to loan out to friends and family to read as a little duology. But book number 4, the first book that we're starting today, I honestly think that we're going to read Revolve. So we read Collide earlier. I've already read Spiral, which is book 2, and I have an art copy of Revolve, which came out in October. And this is around the same amount of pages. I may as well get caught up because I read this book off my physical TBR and then completed the duology on my Kindle. And then I read the first book in a series where I'd read the second book. So I may as well just read the third book and then complete the series. So then so far in the readathon, we're completing or getting up to date with at least 2 series, both on my physical TBR. Does that not like feel fantastic? That feels fantastic to me. I might do that. I'm in the mood to read a romance. I liked how I did it last night, where I started off with a romance and it was giggly and fun, it was easy to read, and then I go into like a fantasy or something else. So I think we're gonna start off with Revolve, read this, have a fun time with it, and because the characters from Collide are still fresh in my head, I feel like now's the perfect time to read it. Like, if I'm not going to read it now, when am I going to read it? And I do have another ice hockey college romance book series on my physical TBR, so if I want to read some romance books in between other books, I have that. But like, this is one less book series that I have to complete or get up to date with, because it's not complete. I think we have a book 4, which I'm also very excited to see who that is following. But it looks like we're essentially in the series so far following 4 roommates who are on this ice hockey team at Dalton University. They all live together. There's 4 boys. So far, 3 of them have had their own books. So I think it's natural to kind of deduce who maybe book 4 is going to be following, but I don't know who the FMC in book 4 will be, so maybe we'll get hints in this. But first one, we're following a sports psychologist student who had to team up with the captain of the hockey team as part of her research, but she hates hockey players. The second one, we followed a professional hockey player and a ballerina, and I really liked that one. And then this one, it looks like we're following a hockey player again and an ice skater. And I read an ice skating book recently. I read Olivia Bell's On Thin Ice, and I loved that. I loved the skating element of that. So we'll see. I do think so far I enjoyed book 1. Book 2 is my favorite in the series. Maybe book 3 could even top book 2 to me. I'm gonna put on my headphones. We're we're gonna start the timer for today and begin reading. All of the characters in this series, like all the female main characters, names start with an S. Book 1 we have Summer, Book 2 we have Sage, Book 3 we have Sierra. Sierra's best friend is called Scarlet, and I'm pretty sure Summer's sisters both had names that start with an S in the first book. I wonder why that is. Because that obviously has to be intentional, that can't just be a coincidence. But I'm like, hang on a second, now everyone's names are starting to blur together. I'm like, who is who? Interesting. I think I know who book 4 is gonna follow. That's gonna be so good. Oh, that's actually so good. We're over halfway. We only have this amount left to read, but I am really enjoying it. I think this might be my favourite one so far that I've read. And I don't know, just from our main male character, from what we had seen in the other 2 books, I was so unsure on him, but getting to know him and see inside of his head and his situation, it all makes sense. And he's just a bit of a softie internally. And I really like how these characters care for each other. I like seeing their dynamic together, but also I think the premise of this plot is quite fun, and I like that all of her books have had very different plot points with the characters and their kind of like forced proximity situations. It makes it different for me to read compared to like other sports, college, hockey, romance books, but this one especially, it gives the feeling of like, would this ever happen in real life? Probably not, but could you imagine this as like a early 2000s rom-com? Like, is this perfect for like a movie? And the answer is yeah. It's just a guilty pleasure, it's entertainment, it's fun. I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, you know. So it's definitely hitting the spot for that, and I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So I'm just sat in the corner, I've got some hot water bottles and a blanket. Cooper is sat next to me as well in this blanket here. We're just cuddling and having a nice relaxing evening reading this book, but I've just been slowly making my way through it and enjoying these characters. We've got, I think, like 120 pages left to read, so I'm gonna jump back into it and finish it. I'm glad I picked it up, so everything was still fresh in my head, but it is very cute. We finished the book. This was definitely, I have to say, my favourite out of all 3 that I've read so far. So this is a 4-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. Me talking earlier saying how I wonder if every book in the series will continue to improve or like get better if I like them more. So far that theory is checking out, because every book I've read in order of publishing, my rating has gone up for all of them. So yeah, I think it's a really fun college sports romance series. If you've read a lot of sports romances, if that's like a genre you like to read, I think each book in this series gives us something different. It doesn't feel as repetitive, I think, as a lot of other college sports romances when it comes to interconnected series, because sometimes they can feel very much the same with the characters. It's like same story but different font, you know? This, I feel like we have very different characters and their dynamics, but then also their plot lines and what happens, you know, outwith of just the college hockey. And I like that. I like we get a good mix of the found family and the team and the college setting, but that's not like the most important thing, and we get a lot of character growth and development individually and together. So that was a really, really fun read. I like that. I have now gotten up to date with this Off the Ice series, and I can pick another book to read. So for the 5th book in this readathon, I don't actually know what I want to read. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. You want to come say hello? You can't really see, but her tail is wagging like crazy right now, out of frame. Alright, we gotta pick a book, Coops. What do we want to read? Do you want to read something from Physical TBR? Do you want to read an arc? Oh, I have Air of Illusion that comes out this month. I could read that. I also have some arcs that I should have read before, but I have not read them yet. We have my November TBR. I could pick a book from there. We have Son of the Morning, which I picked up yesterday to say that it could be a book that I want to read. That's only around 300 pages, so we could read this. This might be fun. That's an option. What else? I have books on my TBR. I didn't read any of the Mortal Instruments Shadowhunters Chronicles books last month because I was prioritizing my October TBR. Yes, I didn't read any of the Shadowhunters Chronicles books last month, but I feel like if I pick this book up, I'm just gonna want to like binge straight into it, so I might try and read some of the books next week. I could read Unearthly. I would be starting a trilogy though. I could read Hallowed. I could read The Ever King. Okay, so I definitely think it's going to be between one of these 3 books. So we're either going to read Son of the Morning, The Ever King, or Unearthly. I think I might read the first page of each book. Oh, okay. I've just looked at the blurb for this one. It sounds super interesting. So I could read that. The Ever King, let's have a look. This also looks good. Oh, the font in this book is a little bit interesting. But you know what? I think the one that I want to read most is this. So I think I'm going to read Unearthly by Cynthia Hand is the next book. Oh, I'm starting a new trilogy, but I really want to read it. And it's also very beautiful. This is a Fairly special edition. It's gorgeous. So YA early, was it 2010s? Yeah, 2011. An OG YA story. So I'm very excited to read. I've not read any of Cynthia Hand's books, so this will be a first, but I'm excited. I'm literally only 5 pages in, but what I find so intriguing about this story is that it kind of reads like the world is similar to Teen Wolf or The Vampire Diaries or Shadowhunters, where it's like a normal world, like our world, but there are paranormal beings or like magical elements in them. And when angels get to a certain age, I think they are given a purpose, and each angel has a different purpose of what their purpose as an angel is in this life. So we're starting out with our main female character kind of discovering her purpose. And I don't think I've read anything like this. Tell me why I'm 61 pages in. That, guys, this book is giving me butterflies. I'm giggling. I love 2010s paranormal romance fantasy books. Oh my god, no, it's genuinely my bread and butter. The last time I had a feeling about a book series like this was when I was reading like the Shadowhunters books. Oh, I love it. 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 I just think that time period of publishing, I don't know, it's like I feel so nostalgic for books that I've never even read before. There's just something about the books that were being published at that time that just speak to my inner teenage self when I was growing up and loved to read and love books. And these were all the books that I could have read if I didn't get the worst book hangover ever from The Hunger Games and Twilight and decide to never read again for another like 10 plus years, you know? Like, this is what I was missing out on, and oh, I just love it. I genuinely, I love this. It's been a while since I've had this feeling again, and it's also making me just want to like read the whole trilogy and also go and read the Shadowhunters universe again. Oh, if anyone has any other, you know, book series that they loved growing up as a teenager, any books published in the mid 2000s, any YA recs like this, please let me know. Like YA recs that follow 16, 17, 18-year-olds rather than like 12 to 14, you know, like the upper end of YA. I love it. I love it. I love the way these books make me feel. That's it. But there's just something about it. It's just, I'm having so much fun. I'm really having so much fun. I love this book. I love everything about this book. There are so many things in this book that if I read a book published today, I would be like, maybe not. They say the word dork and adorkable, jokes about being a dork, a dorkina. I don't even know what that means, but it's so mid 2000s. It's just of that time. Some of the language they're using, I'm like, yeah, it's cringy. You know, when we used to wear and buy clothes that had like mustaches on them, girls used to buy peplum tops to go to the clubs. You know, how teal and peach was everything. One of the characters has like orange hair and they call her Carrot and Pippi Longstockings and make jokes about her. And it's so like, oh, it's just so high school. I mean, it's set in high school, but it's so like 2010s high school. And if I read that in any other book, I'd probably be like cringing out and like, why is he calling her Carrot? That's not a cute nickname. But for some reason in the story, it works. And I am giggling, I'm sitting here. There are things that are happening in this book that I'm having visceral reactions to, and that is how I know that this series is for me. This book is for me. I'm getting feelings. I love paranormal romance. I love YA paranormal romance. I think this is one of my favorite genres to read, and I'm having so much fun with it. I'm halfway through this book. There is no way that I'm not going to sit and binge the entire trilogy back to back. And I just can feel the book hangover coming from this, because this is everything to me. This is everything. This is so good. I'm having fun. I'm having fun, okay? This is so fun. And also, I'm so glad that I got the Fairy Loot special editions of this, because this is one of the most beautiful, beautiful books that I own now. I love it. It's all happening. It's all happening. What does this mean? Immediately need to start book 2. Wow. So I love book 1. I gave book 1 5 stars because it gave me that feeling. There was not a single thing in that book that I can think of that I would have changed. I read the whole thing. I binged it. I knew I was obsessed with it because when I was making food and getting a new drink and walking up and about the house, I was taking my book with me. Couldn't put it down. And then immediately finishing it, being like, I need to pick up book 2 right now. Like this very minute, I have to do that. Even if I wasn't filming this readathon, I would have to do that. So 5 stars. I just got into bed and I thought, I'll just read a chapter or 2 before I update you guys. I'm almost 70 pages in of this 400-page book. We're almost a quarter there. I'm just, this book is just consuming me. This series, this trilogy, this world, this storyline, the mystery. I'm putting some pieces together, but not all of it. It has me on my toes. You know, there's just a nostalgic feeling about first love, high school love, and just being that age is just kind of like relatable because so many of us have experienced going through high school and obviously not dealing with being an angel and demons in a paranormal parallel universe to this world, you know, but some of the trivial high school things and teenage growing pains and stuff, I don't know, it's just entertaining. But I care about these characters. I care. I have strong feelings about my preferences of who my favourite characters are and where I want this to go. And I'm invested. I find it so hard nowadays to feel super invested in a lot of books. Like I like them and I like the characters, but so many of the times I read the stories and I'm not super invested in the characters and where it's gonna go. But I read for the journey and for the story itself because I like the story. But this, I like it all. I love all of it. It's just fun. It's just so fun. I love when you read books and you're like, yeah, I love reading. Reading is so fun. I'm picking up these books and I'm having a great time. And then you find something, you pick up something that's a 5-star read and you go, wait, I forgot how good reading could be. How exciting it is when you find a read like this that makes you feel this way. And then I go, if only every book and every experience could be like this when you're reading. And you're not. And 5 stars wouldn't feel like this if every single read you've read felt like this. But 5 stars. And it just reaffirms to me that when I read a book and I'm like, this was really great, but was it 5 stars? Maybe it was a 4.5, I don't know. And then you read something that's undeniably a 5-star to you because it's your personal preference and 5 stars is a feeling. And you go, no, this is definitely a 5 stars. Like, it just hits you, you know? Anyways, I'm going to continue reading. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish this tonight. And then I'm probably going to even start book 3. We've got 6 hours. I'm going to read this book and then I'm probably going to start the next book too. But it's going to be like a long night of reading for me. So I don't know how much updating we'll be able to do because we're coming towards the end of this readathon and I'm just kind of locking in and reading. But if we complete this whole trilogy in this readathon, that's pretty good. That'd be good. That'd be ideal. That'd be fun. I definitely know we'll be able to finish this in the time period. I just don't know if we'll be able to finish the 3rd book. We may as well start it, you know? Anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm gonna go back into my reading hole because I cannot put this down. I cannot stop binging it. I don't like where this is going. I know I'm gonna have my feelings hurt. What? Guess there's only one thing to do now. I did enjoy book 2. I think book 1 is my favourite so far though. Like, book 1 was undeniably a 5 stars. I did enjoy book 2, but that it was not at all where I thought the plot was going to go, and it was quite sad. It was quite sad. No idea where book 3 is going to go after that though. We have 3-ish hours left, so I don't want to see spoilers. How many pages is this? 500. Oh yeah, we're not going to finish this one in the 24-hour readathon, so I'm just going to read until the timer goes out, see how far into the book we get, and then honestly probably we'll just finish the book anyways, because if I'm reading this series I want to be able to tell you my thoughts and rating and reviews afterwards. So I guess we're just gonna try and read this book. This is beautiful. Getting distracted and very sleepy. Okay, it's time. It's very late. It's also very cold. But I finished. Now, I didn't think that I would finish this in the 24-hour readathon. I did, because it's actually still only 400 pages. And at the back of this fairly special edition, there's a novella. There's book 2.5. So I kind of wish that I read that before reading book 3 for more context, but I read it after, because we had time, because, you know, it was a novella. So technically 2 books in one in this one. But I read an entire trilogy in this video, and I loved it. I definitely think Unearthly was just incredible, like up there, one of my favourite reads. The way that book made me feel, I'm always going to be chasing that high that a book gives me. I think book 2 and book 3, I kind of feel the same on. Like, I did really enjoy their read. But that, just a culmination of everything with book 1, with the characters and the plot line and the story and the little romance and all of it. I loved it. So when the plot and the storyline evolved and our characters started aging up and, you know, changes started happening in their lives, obviously the feeling of the book is going to evolve with that. So, oh, that book 1 was so special, and I love that, and I love this little trilogy, and I'm in such a mood now to go and find other older book series, YA, paranormal romance and fantasy that I just never read as a teenager and growing up, that I can just binge and like keep reliving the same feeling, find my new favourite, you know, nostalgic paranormal fantasy reads. So I love this. I also love the Fairy Loot editions. They're so beautiful. Like, the naked hardcovers are just gorgeous, but I am knackered. I'm so tired. I'm going to crawl into bed and sleep. I'm going to get such a good, long, deep sleep. I'm going to have a lie-in tomorrow. But yeah, I found a new favourite 5-star read in this 24-hour readathon. I completed 3 book series. I got up to date with 3 book series. I don't know how I did that. And that brings us to the end of this 24-hour readathon. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. Comment below a sword emoji, and if you aren't already subscribed and you've made it all the way to the end of this video, please subscribe. I'd love to see you in the next video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.